Thanks for visiting the Sit Show. I'm Tiffany and Brembo is joining me today. We are going to talk about animal husbandry, things that you need to do with your dog on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to ensure that they are healthy, and you can therefore avoid unnecessary financial constraint for yourself and medical emergencies or treatments for the dogs when you are being proactive in the care of your animal. I'm going to start from the nose, and we're going to go all the way down to the toes about things that I have been doing with my animals since owning them to ensure that they are as healthy as possible while in my home living life with me. Let's start with the very tip of the dog's nose. Brembo's nose is nice and slightly moist, and that is good. That's what I want. You want to watch your dog, especially as they age or certain breeds, depending on your climate. Your dog's nose might get dry and cracked. There are so many products that you can use to make your dog more comfortable. Keep an eye on the nose. If your dog's nose is getting dry or cracked or they're sneezing a lot, something could be wrong. So pay attention to that part of your dog. The next thing we're going to talk about is teeth. Brem needs to let me be able to look in his mouth and check his teeth. Now, he is a 5-year-old dog, so there is a little bit of tartaring going on in his mouth and his teeth, but his gums are nice and pink. His mouth has a nice amount of saliva in it. This tells me that he's healthy and happy. If his mouth were to be dry, I could have a problem. If your dog is pawing at its face, if your dog is eating weird or not wanting to chew his food all of a sudden, you could have dental problems. It's a really good idea with our dogs to check their mouths on a regular basis, not just when they go to the vet. I just had a friend of mine notice her dog's face was just a little bit swollen and you could barely tell, but she knows her animal really well. And sure enough, when she went to the vet, that dog did have a cracked tooth, and so it was extracted. Another thing for those of you with puppies out there, when you're getting a puppy and they're going through the teething stages, you want to be checking that dog's mouth to make sure things are coming out and things are falling out the way they should. So you don't all of a sudden go to the vet when your dog is 9-10 months old and realize you have a double set of canines or you have teeth that are crowding each other because they never left the mouth when they should have left the mouth. He does not get his teeth brushed because he is mostly fed raw, but I probably should do a better job brushing his teeth. So doing that stuff on a daily basis can help you so you don't have to sedate your dog more often than needed for dental cleanings and things of that nature. So check your dog's mouth. The next thing is eyes. So I want to make sure that my dog has a nice clear eye, free of goop and debris. Some of us are going to have dogs that do get more tear staining, and it's more noticeable on a white dog than a dark dog. But you're going to want to make sure to keep those eyes free and clear of debris. And as they're aging, again, checking to make sure, are you getting cataracts? Is there a sign of something going on that you need to get that dog into the vet? Is their vision good? That sort of stuff. But again, knowing what my baseline is will help me take better measures so that I'm not waiting too long to take the dog in. The next thing is we have our ears, and this can be a huge problem depending on the breeds you have. I am really lucky with my dogs so far. Actually, all of my dogs, I have had a problem with ear infections, and that can be a real pain for some dogs. So you want to make sure that you're checking your dog's ears and making sure they're clean, free of debris, not red. I use an ear cleaner on my dogs. So one of the things that we do with Bremy is I just use cotton rounds and an ear cleaning solution. That goes on that cotton round, and I can actually stick that right in his ear and just dig down there with my pointer finger and get anything out and dirt. And you can see he doesn't have an ear. His ears were dirty today. His ears are cleaned at least every 2 weeks, and this is 2 weeks worth of just a little bit of dirt. I want to clean that out of there. I know. I'm going to do this side over here. And that side was dirty too. So by getting that dirt out of there, I can ensure that it doesn't lead to an infection or something going wrong. If 1 week you notice that you go to dig in your dog's ears and normally they're good for it and then they're not, that could be a sign of infection. So again, I'm trying to do things on a regular basis with my dogs so that I don't end up having bigger problems than I should have. Now, He is not a coated breed. With some of your coated breeds, any of the doodles out there, you're gonna have a totally different level of ear care that needs to be done because of the hair that grows inside of the ear. I am not a groomer. I'm talking about baseline grooming today. So this is something to put yourself on with a maintenance schedule with your groomer and make sure your dog is getting in on a regular basis to either have that ear hair cut or plucked. I know that's a big controversy out there right now, but you have to do what's best for your dog and make sure that you're getting your dog's ears clean so it doesn't lead to infections. The next step we're gonna talk about is neck. So depending on your dog's collar or maybe training or activities you're doing with your dog, I wanna make sure that if the collar is on my dog, especially if it's growing, that I'm adjusting that collar and it's not getting too tight on the dog's neck. However, the other thing is you wanna make sure the collar is not so loose on the dog where if they get startled or frightened, that they're gonna pull out of that collar. So understanding the size of your dog's neck and what collar they need to be safe and secure is really important, and also that there's not any rubbing. Some dogs can have allergic reactions to certain materials, so I wanna make sure that I'm checking that so that the dog is not getting irritated or anything is happening there. The other thing is for anybody in a fabric collar or martingale collar that's made of like a leather, take that collar off and clean that. That dirt and debris is getting underneath there, and you need to make sure that you're keeping the dog clean and the items on the dog are clean. From there, we're gonna go down to the legs. We're gonna talk about, I know, I love you too. I love you too. So we've got his elbow here and we've got his wrist here. And I just wanna make sure when I'm feeling over my dog that there's no lumps and bumps. He's not in pain or discomfort when I'm touching him, so that I am not waiting, again, too long and then there's an underlying issue. My previous breed before this was Rottweilers, and they are prone to bone cancer. And so I am going over those dogs to make sure that I can catch something sooner than later before it's too late. When you come down here, we're gonna talk about this because this is my passion. I like a dog with a nice trimmed nail. And there's a few reasons for that. When your puppies are growing, their nails are growing quickly, and as the nail grows, the quick grows. If I wait too long to trim nails, then that vein, that quick is growing longer, and it's harder to recede on some breeds as that dog ages. Long nails are problematic because it affects the way the dog moves. It affects the way the dog stands. It's hard on your house, your floors, your furniture, those sorts of things. So I cut my dog's nails weekly, and there are some people I know that can get away with doing it monthly, but you should be handling your dog's feet and making sure that their nails are cared for. I had an experience personally many years ago with one of our French bulldogs. His nails were trimmed, but they were a little bit longer. I wasn't that excellent about it. And he was tearing around outside and that nail cracked. And we had to go to the vet. The nail had to be removed. It was ultra painful, more painful than it should have been for that dog if I would have done a better job of cutting that dog's nails. And a nail trim, if you don't want to do it yourself, is far less money than a vet visit, and it is far less painful to cut a dog's nails than remove a dog's nails because they're excessively long. The other thing with our dogs as they age, we have a lot of senior dogs that come in to see us for nail trims. When your dogs are getting older, they start to have mobility problems. And if your dog's nails are too long and you're hearing that clicking and dragging on the floor, that does affect your dog's balance. They should be walking on the pads of their feet, not on their toenails. So you want to make sure that you're checking those dogs' nails regularly, and if you're not going to do it yourself, take them in to have it done by somebody else. With some dogs, just the way that they are built, their conformation, how active you are, people say, I walk my dog on the cement so I don't have to trim their nails. I have seen that sometimes. Generally, that does not affect the nail getting as short as it needs to get, so you still need to trim that dog's nails. I use a combination of a clipper and a Dremel. When clients come in here that have dogs that don't like their feet touched or their nails done, this is something that you have to incorporate daily, where you're just doing it a little bit all the time, every day, regular basis, so the dog comes to accept it. So Brem's nails actually just got done yesterday. They're nice and short. The other thing that I'm going to talk about with the feet is some of our breeds have more sensitive skin than others, and terriers, they are prone to some skin issues. So I am always checking between the toes for any sign of allergic reactions or infections, making sure that his feet are not sensitive in between. I check the tops, I check the bottoms, I'm looking for any signs of irritation. With a dog with long coat, I want to make sure that I'm checking those feet pads. Again, depending on where you live, what time of year it is, I want to make sure there's nothing stuck in there because hair can hide things. So I'm looking at those feet. If I've been out running the dog or in the woods, check those paw pads. You want to make sure that there's no tears. You want to make sure there's no cuts. You want to make sure that there's no stickers in there, no thorns, and check those feet. So we've got the front half of the dog done here. The other thing is when we're going over our dogs, a dog that's in good shape is healthier. They're gonna live longer. There is a plethora of obese animals in our country. When I am petting Brembo, I can feel his ribs when I pet him. I can feel his structure. It is not padded by a bunch of fat. He is healthier, he is happier this way. He's able to do all of the things that he likes to do with ease. And so I want to keep him nice and trim. So that means depending on how active we are, sometimes he gets fed more, sometimes he gets fed less. When you're coming down to the underside, we're going to get a little personal. This is a male dog. This is an intact male dog. So things are a little bit different when he's intact. Sometimes right here, right in front of his penis, he will get a little bit of a rash or a redness that has to be cleaned. So you have to check that on your males to make sure that they are free and clear and everything's healthy right there. Also, when we go down back to the thigh and to the rear end, Brembo likes to wag his tail a lot. I have to be careful how much he does wag his tail because he has had happy tail and he's had swimmer's tail before. So happy tail is when he is in the corner of a room and will wag his tail hard enough that he can actually just hit it on a corner and crack it open. That is absolutely no fun to have. So I am aware of that when he goes to the vet, for example, because he likes the vet, that he is away from any surfaces because I'm going to the vet to prevent injury, and the last thing I want to have happen is that he cracks his tail open at the vet. So he stays away from all those surfaces. The other thing is when he wags his tail too hard, he is actually sprained the top of his tail here, and then he walks around with a limp, painful tail for a few days. So knowing that's a possibility with him because he's so happy, I just have to be able to stop that behavior with him. Probably not a problem most people have, but since we're going over everything, I thought I would cover that. The other thing with him is, as we go down here, some of our dogs' ACL problems and tears are a big problem in our dogs. Weight contributes to that, which is another reason I keep my dogs lean, but I want to make sure that I don't have any knee soreness or tenderness in my dogs, especially if they've been running hard or jumping. And so I'm just going over that to make sure that nothing seems uncomfortable. Again, he's intact, he has testicles, it gets checked. There's no lumps, there's no growths, there's no bumps back there, and that everything's free and clear. I'm gonna move back up. I am very lucky on this with my breeds. Certain breeds are prone to anal gland issues where they are dragging their butts against the ground and doing the butt scoop boogie. That is when your dog's anal glands are impacted, and some dogs are just more prone to it. Diet can help. So something to consider if you are constantly finding that your dog's anal glands are full is nutritionally you can make changes to help that. That's easier for you and far more enjoyable for the dog to just change the dog's food rather than going to the vet and having their anal glands expressed, or the groomer and have their anal glands expressed. Hats off to you if you do it yourself, but that's where I draw the line. I'm not doing anal glands. So same thing on the rear feet as the front feet. I want to make sure that we are free and clear of any debris in the feet. I want to make sure that the pads are not torn or cracked. If they start to get cracked or dry, especially with age and season, there are things that I can put on there. Same with the nails in the back. Naturally, the dog's rear nails are always shorter than the front nails. And that's because all the power comes from back here. So the front nails require more maintenance than the rear nails. When we are looking at things daily with our dogs is water consumption. How much water is your dog drinking? A kibble-fed dog will always drink more water than a raw-fed dog. A lot of people come in here when they switch to raw and they are concerned that dogs stop drinking water, it's because of the moisture content in the food. Know how much water your dog is drinking on a daily basis. If they all of a sudden stop drinking or start drinking, there could be a problem. If your dog throws up water, okay, they have been exercising hard and they drink a bunch of water, they drank too much. But if you notice that your dog is lethargic, maybe you don't kennel your dog is prone to getting into things, you suspect that your dog may have swallowed that toy and they throw up water, you need to get to the vet because it is a big sign of a blockage. Personal experience on that one many years ago in life. Going to the bathroom, I want to make sure that I am aware of how much my dogs are urinating and defecating. There should be a daily average, and if I all of a sudden see a dog that is trying to urinate more frequently, I could have a UTI, I could have a bladder infection, it could be kidney related. I want to make sure that I'm aware of these things with my dog. Same thing with their poop. I want to know what's in it. I'm not out there with a microscope looking at it every day, but I do want to pay attention to what's coming out of the back end, because if I see something that doesn't look good, I'm going to get my dog into the vet. You can't always see a parasite in the stool. So if you've been traveling, your dog's just a little bit off, even if that looks clear, it might not mean it's clear. Thanks for visiting the Sit Show today. I'm Tiffany. This is Fizz. This is Brembo. Train your dog. If you don't, it's going to be a shit show. If you do, it could be a sit show. That's it.